Hey, Doug.
Good afternoon, Sean. Hello,
All right.
everyone.
Hey, so today we were going to talk about buying a new construction home.
Yep.
You're thinking, somebody out there maybe thinking, I'd like to build a new home. I want it just the way I like it.
Yeah.
You know, for whatever reason they want to live in a certain development or a certain area. They want to build new.
It's right. New construction is a lot of times you can create your own lifestyle, the way you want to live, how you want to live in that house, and also you can pick the area that you want to live in so that the house and your area match. And the reason people consider new construction is because on existing construction you have to put up with what somebody else wanted for their lifestyle.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you don't know what's in the house, so you usually have to do a lot of inspections, and even then you're not quite sure. And number three is everything in your new construction is new, which is great. Right. And a lot of warranties are covered with new construction, so there's a little peace of mind there going on. So next would be, let's say I own a home and I've decided I want to consider new construction, or I've even decided on a builder. And so I guess what we want to talk about today is kind of what is the process when I own a home and I want to build.
Right, yeah, how does that work if I have a house now and I have a mortgage payment I'm making, how do I start, because then the builder has to start construction at some point and it takes months to build a house.
Yes.
Unless you're, picking one that's been pre-built.
Right.
Okay.
And so what happens is that you're going to have to sell the house, number one. If you don't have to sell the house and you can qualify on 2 mortgage payments, the new house and the old house, then selling the house isn't quite as critical, of course, because you could always, if it doesn't sell, you could always rent it out, or maybe just want to rent it out altogether and not even sell it for right now. But if you do need to sell, so usually what you do is you get pre-approved for a mortgage for the new house, conditional on you selling your old house.
Okay.
You start working with the builder, getting the site that you want to build on, right?
Okay.
Getting the style of the house, starting getting floor plans together. And at some point in time, you're going to want to make that commitment. The builder's going to want some kind of a commitment from you for where you want to build it, some commitment for coming up with some formalized drawings of the home.
Okay. And
commitment usually is in the form of a down payment or a small money up front that is refundable at closing. And then what you have to do is, now I have to sell my house in order to buy this next one. So what's going to happen is you're going to come to a real estate agent such as we are.
Okay.
And you're going to say, hey, I'm going to need to get my house sold. I'm going to be building a new house.
Right.
And so we put the house on the market and we market it and we get a buyer. You're happy with the buyer's price. You've got an accepted purchase agreement. So now you're pretty well established to have the builder go ahead and start actually doing some real physical work to your house on the site that you're going to build on.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're doing that part of it because now we've got a buyer. Now the only conditional thing that we have is that the buyer, we want to make sure the buyer is well qualified, really going to perform here, because if he doesn't, we have to start the process all over. Then the builder has already started your house, so it gets a little tense if that happens.
Okay.
So when you make sure we got a really good buyer that's going to do what they say and really close on your house.
Okay. Okay.
Now the tricky part about new construction is, when is my new house going to get done, and can I arrange for the closing on my old house to match up with the new house?
On the same exact day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the easy answer or the fast answer is, that ain't going to happen.
Okay. Like what percentage of the time does that happen?
5%. Maybe.
Maybe less.
Yeah. So,
okay.
when you're going to go into this process, you have to be well aware that you're going to probably, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have alternative living arrangements.
Yeah.
There's going to be a gap.
Because you have to close, normally, if you can't qualify for both payments, and just to recap, what we mean is that your income, your monthly income, isn't high enough where a mortgage company can look at the percentage of your income for both your current mortgage and your future house mortgage, and that you could afford both of those from what the mortgage companies considers comfortable. Normally that's a max of like 40% or something like that. So then you're gonna have to close on your house, your current house first.
Before you could buy the next one.
Okay.
And the problem is the timing in there is that most buyers, when they make an offer on your house, they're going to want to either move in 30, 60, 90 days, and that just depends on how far along your house is along that maybe that might match up.
Okay.
So what happens is that for sure the closing on your new house, your new construction, has to happen after the old one closes. That's what we're talking about here.
Right.
So for sure, if the builder says, hey, we're going to close on the 15th of this certain month, and you accepted a purchase agreement that says you're not going to close until the 30th of that month, you got to tell your builder we can't close until the 30th of that month.
Right.
So that's usually pretty easy. But the problem a lot of people have is, what do I do is if I close, let's say in July on my old house, and I don't close until October on the new house.
Right, which is pretty common.
So you have to make
Takes a while.
arrangements. So
Okay.
a couple we just worked with today, they went and rented a townhome.
Right. There's quite a few rentals out
Yes,
there.
quite a few rentals that are
Apartments.
willing to get some cash for a few months just to help their cash flow.
Right.
Some people live with relatives, friends. If it's a
Yeah.
short period of time, you can do what I did one time. My wife and I and my family, we stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Sounds like fun in the beginning, but 2 weeks of hotel life is that's
Not always
about the
fun.
limit. That was the limit for me.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so there's those options. And then what you can do
Mhm.
is also one other option that you do have available is if your buyer of your house is agreeable, you could say, let's close on my house now,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't move out for 2 months. Can I rent my house out for 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you would want to suggest that is, number one, you get your house closed, and number two, you don't have to do a double move, and number three, some buyers are okay with that. Maybe they don't have their house sold yet, or their closing isn't, or they have other arrangements. Maybe they're moving in from out of town and they can live somewhere else for a while.
Right.
So sometimes that's an option. It doesn't happen all the time.
And that's called a rent back.
It's called a rent back. You close on your house, now you've got the money from your house, you know that, and you can just now rent your house back from the buyer for a couple months or a month.
Okay.
So there we go.
Okay. Thanks, Doctor.
Good luck on that new construction.
All right. Thanks.
Good.
Thanks for your advice.
Mhm.